So this one's a special Unimog. I think we've had 6, 7, 8 Unimogs over the last 15 years. 15 years ago, I bought my first Unimog. It was similar to this 416 Doka, but I sold it because there are some things about it I didn't like, and it was too slow, it was too loud, and it was too gutless on the highway. And so when I found this one years ago, it had the problems I had in my first one. This one didn't have. And so what makes this unique is that it's got the faster axles. So top speed 65, maybe a little bit faster than that with these tires. It also has a couch off-road waste-gated turbo, so it's significantly more powerful. It has the 20-speed transmission, which means you got even on the highway, you got the splitter gears. So that way you're always finding the right gear. These standard Unimog, the 416, 406s, there's a big hole on the highway between your top two gears. So you're kind of wringing its neck in 5th gear, you shift into 6th gear, going up a slight hill, up a canyon or something, and it falls on its face. You're back into 5th gear, wringing its neck. So with the 20-speed transmission, you got the splitter gear, so you always can find that perfect gear. So one of the amazing things, for those that don't know about the Unimogs, is the portal axles. So you'll see the axle coming across the hubs, and it has a gear reduction that goes down to the hub. And so that pumpkin is 19 inches off the ground. And so your ground clearance is so much better than any other vehicles out there. So on this walk around, we'll talk about some of the features of it. It's 1976, so it's definitely had a restoration done to it. The paint's in decent shape, but it's not perfect. There's some scratches here and there, a little bit of, tiny bit of surface rust we'll point out. But some of the things it has, it's got we did this custom bumper on the front of it, heavy steel. Also got a worn winch with synthetic line, factor 55 fair lead, and the ultra hook on there. It's got the standard big bash plate. As we come around over here, you'll see that we've got, these are my friends, Globe Tech. My buddy owned a company bringing in these LED lights. These are the big bad boys. No, they're not Baja Designs or Rigid, but the brightness is very similar. They're not going to rust like some of the knockoffs do. They put out an insane amount of light, though. It's pretty impressive. Here, when Jay Couch does the waste-gated turbo on these, that turbo requires a 3-inch body lift. And so there's numerous benefits to that. One is the cab will run cooler. I think it's because you have more air traveling, between the motor and the cab to kind of blow that through. It also makes the cab quieter. And then it allows you to run the next size bigger tire, which are so much easier to find. So normally you only run a 405 Michelin XM47 is the biggest. With the 3-inch body lift, you can run the 425, which are so much easier to find and usually about half the price of the 405s that you can stand, that normally is all you can fit on here. It's when Couch Off-Road had it, they rebuilt the motor, they added the cooling and stuff to be able to handle the turbo. They rebuilt the 20-speed transmission, so that's all runs. That all works great. They did new suspension, like new springs, also new shocks on it, among a lot of other things. They relocated the fuel tanks. There were just some things that weren't quite right on it. And so I believe that the owner before me spent about $50,000 with Couch Off-Road doing something. Then we've taken it to another level since then. We have the fenders. Right over here, we got a couple of fenders. I don't like them on. If I was going through mud or in the rain or something, I would put them on. But I like off-roading. I like them off. Even on the highway, I just think it looks better when they're not on there. But it also allows you, when you're stepping into it, you step here inside the fuel tank step, but then you can step on the tread to get in. When those are there, they cover that up, so you can't really utilize the tire to step into. But those are included. Those will be in the back of the truck when it's shipped. The doors, there was no rust. That all been taken care of. Rust spots are usually underneath the door panels here, also underneath the headlights. Those are clean. I can't imagine they wore. I'm sure that the person that had it all restored. fixed all of those areas that are normally bad. But these are good. There's no rust. There's some surface rust that we'll point out, but there's no cancer anywhere. And the door, that's where you want to look on Unimogs, is usually those are hammered. These are not. I'll show you. You can see here in the video. We'll put the camera under there. You can see a little bit of surface rust, but no serious cancer in those door panels. And then we bed line to kind of protect some of it. We bed lined the rockers, also bed under here. Underneath the cab, during the restoration, the entire cab is bed lined underneath. This is 3 times quieter than a standard 416 Doka, than my first one. It's so much quieter. We'll go through that here in a minute when we go to the inside. In here you've got, there's a stainless steel tanks. This is the main tank. The other tank's the same size, but it's a transfer tank. Switch you hit inside to transfer if you need more fuel in here. So the fuel gauge only works on this one from inside. In here we've got the storage boxes. I keep the winch cable, air lines, couplers and things like that, tools, gloves, etc. in this aluminum box. We added air. I like, when I'm off-road, I'm always constantly airing up, airing down. So to make it simpler, we added air chucks onto both sides. There's also kind of your rock light. Side lights here, we got rock lights tucked up underneath there in the fender, as well as rock light right back up into here. One of the things I did when I got it is I like running, so this is a disc brake Unimog. You could buy Unimogs with disc brake or drum brakes. So this is a disc brake, obviously, which would be better, but then I run a drum brake wheel. And with the drum brake wheel, it has a different offset. So this thing actually, each of these wheels is 2 inches offset. So overall, the rims are 4 inches wider than if I use the stock disc brake. But it includes the spare as well as 3 more tires that are mounted onto the disc brake wheel, the original disc brake wheels. So it comes with 8 tires and wheels. It had kind of some goofy, maybe someone liked it, I hated it. It had like a truck bed camper thing on here that to me, it didn't work for me. And so we had this built. The base is steel, the uppers are aluminum. They can be removed. Also put in here kind of a modified roll cage. If you tip this thing over, you're pretty much dead. I mean, it's a tin can. There's nothing structural in there. I at least wanted to add something, and so we put that there. One of the benefits to a Unimog is that it's one of the only vehicles in the world where it's designed for the frame to flex. So that's why you don't see a lot of them roll cage, because if you roll cage and tie into a frame, you lose that flex within the frame. And so I just added that to give you a little bit of protection. There's places this would go that I just didn't dare take it to, because I didn't want that chance of tipping it over. These are aluminum rails that we added. That's because at times I'd put a rooftop tent on here and then have the rooftop tent fold out either left or right, or it could fold out to the back. There's some tracks in here that allow those to be moved. Again, these are aluminum, so they're really lightweight. And if here inside, you'll see these tracks. So this could all be moved, or these can be removed, or they can be moved forward and back. But it works pretty slick for a rooftop tent if you wanted to take it camping. And it kind of sits right up there next to the tire. We had the whole back bed lined, put tie down points in numerous places, obviously on the sides with the airline track, but then also some of your D-rings here. You get a shot over here, there's going to show this custom exhaust. So the cool thing with this Unimog is that out of all my Unimogs, even Unimogs that have been a lot newer, they all smoke like crazy, especially here in my shop. You fire them up. Some of them, this one doesn't, some of them, in order for the park brake to release, has to build up pressure. So you got to let it idle for several minutes, and it would just fill the whole shop full of smoke. When Couch Off-Road rebuilt this motor, it's tight. Like it fires up. Even on a really cold, below zero or below freezing day, it will fire right up, and it puts out little to no smoke compared to my other Unimogs. So the engine on this is solid. It runs really well. but we still stacked it just to get the exhaust up and out of the way. When you're off-road going slow or idling, I just like having that exhaust up above you. Here, this sign was black. Obviously, it must have been an Amazon purchase, not Mercedes, because that was all black, and now it's like nearly all just bare aluminum. This receiver, not used to tow anything with. That we had that put there just because I wanted to put like a mountain bike. If you want to put a bike rack to hold a couple mountain bikes back here, you could. And then you got your reverse lights that we added. You have them here in the turn signals and brakes, but added some much brighter ones. You can be turned on from the switches inside. Coming around here, we've got, again, the transfer tank here. Here's your batteries. So we've got 2 batteries that are fairly new. And then they also have an isolator back up into here. So you can shut it on and off. Right now it's on 1. So but while you're driving, it actually charges both batteries. So if for some reason you left something on and it's on that, you'll still have the second battery to be able to start it from. So I always just leave it on 1. I don't turn it off even all winter. It works great. But then if for some reason you did leave something on, you could switch it to both or to 2 and still have power to start it. So when you see Jeep's press release and they're bragging about crawl ratio being 100 to 1, well, this with the 20-speed transmission is 623 to 1. So 6 times lower than the new Jeep Rubicon. And so the crawl ratio on this is unbelievable. This thing will climb a tree. It will go anywhere you dare take it.